From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LA Late.
It's a big evening here on Evenings LA with the latest update about your forced stimulus check of 2021 today. The day started wonderful with incredible great news as the president signed a major legislation that anchors forced stimulus to the finish line. It also started with incredible details as the Senate, the House, the president all singularly said they're in favor of multiple forced stimulus checks in the forced stimulus package. And the president signing into law a bill that anchors it. But then out of nowhere came a major twist that no one saw coming. And is it good? Is it bad? Or is it confusing? I'll go over the shocking twist happening just tonight on Evenings LA. Then we'll be cutting to fifth stimulus and why the economic data that was released this morning was wonderful for fifth stimulus. I'll be going over what that breaking economic data was released this morning and how it impacts your benefits. And then we go over the big thousands of dollars you can get right now. Thousands of dollars from the West Coast to the East Coast. I'm excited you're joining me on a big night of Evenings LA. There's a lot of breaking news in tonight's recording. It may go a little bit longer than 30 minutes. Let's get to it, starting right now. It's a Thursday night here in Los Angeles. It's starting to heat up, and also heating up, of course, is also your forced stimulus. How's the weather where you are? Tell me where you're watching from and how the weather is. In this forced stimulus check update of 2021, we're going to go over what those Democrats want to give you for that monthly stimulus check, what the president wants to, what the senators and the Democrats in both the House and the Senate want to give you as well. Then we'll be cutting to fifth stimulus, and the breaking news that it raises up your benefits a lot more because of a shocking number released this morning. The highest number we've seen this number in nearly 30 years. I'll have all the breaking details on that number. Then we'll be cutting to the big money you can get, and then the big shocker. A twist that came out of nowhere. Since Afternoons LA, taped earlier today, since that broadcast, it's happening tonight. I'll explain it. It's confusing. It's nothing that you can explain in 10 words or less. And we'll have all the details coming up later in this video. But first, subscribe. This is LA, the only and most comprehensive 24-hour a day, 7 days a week financial news channel, live on air in the morning, taped in the afternoons. I'm next back with you with overnight's crypto and then late night crypto. Also, like this video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Subscribe, like, and consider becoming a member. Let's get right into that forced stimulus check. There is a House bill and a Senate proposal. The House bill provides a monthly stimulus check for the remainder of the pandemic from the Democrats. They propose that the stimulus check would run for the remainder of the pandemic plus 1 year in this House bill. The Senate proposal, on the other hand, provides a stimulus check monthly from July to December. Let's compare the monthly amounts of payments. The House bill provides the first month would be $2,000 a month, $1,000 thereafter. The Senate proposal, the monthly amount is unknown, but word on the street is it's this. Wow. This is the purported Senate proposal from the Democrats. $2,000 a month over 6 months, $12,000, or $1,400 a month over 6 months, $8,400. Let's go back to the House bill and understand the macroeconomics that could impact this. If you're in the live chat just after 5 o'clock, get ready to vote House or Senate and tell me where you're watching from and how the weather is. Macroeconomics may suggest the pandemic is over for legislative purposes, which would result in 12 months of stimulus checks, not pandemic plus 1 year, which would be $13,000 over 12 months compared to the Senate proposal over 6 months. Wow. I think you have an opinion. All right, so jump in the live chat. Which one you like now? House or Senate? House or Senate? Let's go over how much is at issue and who gets it. The Democrats propose that the forced stimulus recipients would be the same as the third stimulus checks. They want the forced stimulus check to go to single individuals who make less than $75,000. The Democrats want the forced stimulus check to go to married couples who make less than $150,000, double the check. The Democrats want the forced stimulus check to go to families of four. quadrupled the check. And they also wanted to go to recipients of benefits. Yes, if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, veterans benefits, they would give you a forced stimulus check as well. The forced stimulus check is not income, so it's not taxable. And the forced stimulus check is not waivable, so don't wave at it. Hi. No, it's not going to wave back. And the forced stimulus check is a monthly stimulus check. They represent the Democrats, that the vote would be no later than July 4th. In fact, they've made that representation half a dozen times. That means that the forced stimulus check from them would come in the month of July for the month of July, and in the month of August for the month of August. And there you go. That is our first of 3 parts of our fourth stimulus check update of 2021 in this video. Coming up in just a second is the major deal the president hatched today for forced stimulus and the shocking twist that was hatched in his absence out of the country. Yeah, okay. That's coming up in a second. But first, here's a preview of the second half of this video, which is fifth stimulus. Fifth stimulus got an incredible lift today with an economic number that was released this morning that just blew everyone's socks off, if you're wearing socks. And it was the highest number we've seen this number in 30 years. I'll be going over why that is wonderful news if you are on benefits, because fifth stimulus raises up your benefits and then applies a new benchmark, which is inflation. But first, let's turn to that big money that we are getting on this channel. If you're new to this channel, what I do is I give people money. We don't track checks on this channel. We cash checks, and there's a lot of money for you to cash. Third stimulus provided fortunes, $5, $10, $15, $20,000 for you, in addition to a stimulus check, and now that money's landed, so let's go get it. Where are you going to get it? Get a pen and paper ready, or a Crayola crayon, because I'm wearing Crayola blue, and get ready to write it down, because you're going to get that money for rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, homeowners utilities as well. And it's in different locations. Each location may have different eligibility. So if you get a no, move on to the next till you get the yes. All right, you ready? Here we go. City Hall, City Housing Authority. County Hall, County Housing Authority. State Hall, State Housing Authority. You're going to ask for rent assistance because of COVID. Rent assistance because of COVID. You're not going to ask for anything else like stimulus, because they don't know that word. And you're not going to ask for strange words like falafel with side of toast, because they'll say, no, we don't have toast. They don't know what falafel is. So don't say stimulus either. You can say mortgage assistance because of COVID. And there you go. That rent is about $5,000 for 4 to 6 months of rent. Wow. Congratulations to Tim and Linda who've gotten that money as well. Now let's turn to the next pot of money. And boy, if you've gotten any money from this channel, just jump in the live chat, because it inspires me and inspires other viewers. I don't care if it's $1. I don't care if it's $20,000. I've gotten viewers the whole range, because that's how I do it on this channel. Day one, I was getting people $25 million for EIDL for loans to save their homes, their businesses, and their employees' homes. And then by the 6-month mark, I was saving people with getting them rent, utilities before the holidays, because second stimulus had not yet gone out. Well, we're doing that right now. And on Monday, we got inspired by a viewer who jumped into Mornings LA and said, I got $580 approximately per month for this thing. And what is it? It's SNAP. She is getting $6,000 to $7,000 a year. But boy, congratulations to Lynn Glenn and her son and her mom. She got as well. Gail got as well. What is it? It is SNAP. It is money for food. How do you get it? Department of Agriculture. Reach out to Department of Agriculture and get that money. How much does it pay? A family of 4 in Hawaii gets upwards of $16,000 a year because of 2 wonderful executive orders, one from Trump and one from Biden, that raise your benefits up 15%. So go get it. There you are. $15,000, $16,000 for SNAP for family 4 in Hawaii, $5,000 for rent. We are killing it, and we are only 8 minutes into this video. But boy, I got more money for you, and that more money is $5,000. One viewer got for this. What is it? The federal government has identified states as overpaying you unemployment assistance because of computer error. Then asking you to return the money back to them, which you did. Oh no. The federal government has now said, no, that was your money to keep, and has ordered the states to return that money back to you. Wow, there we go. One viewer got $5,000 for this. So how do you get it? Directly from the state to the accounts you have on file. When? Reach out to your respective state for routing times. The next pot of money is wonderful, and it is the returning of your checks, your payments from IRS that you paid on that 2020 unemployment benefits. Cod got it. Another person got it. Margaret got it. A lot of people have been getting that money. Let's go over how much it is, when you get it, how to track it, and when you're receiving it and how you're going to get it, starting right now. Let's say you had $9,000 of total unemployment benefits and you paid $5,000 in total taxes, but you paid $4,000 of taxes on unemployment assistance in that 2020 return to IRS. You're getting back $4,000. Congratulations. How? On the account that you have on file for direct deposit in the case of COD, otherwise in the mail. Next when? In the month of June. Can you track it? Generally, about 70% of the time you can. Go to irs.gov, set up a username and password, go in there and do a transcript check. And 70% of the time it works and reveals the tax return you filed, the payment you made, and the return of money back to you on its way. Wow. That money's coming in the month of June. And there you go. That is the wonderful money. What's better than that? The second part of our forced stimulus check updated 2021. Now, as you heard at the top of this recording, this is new data that you haven't heard since Afternoons LA, but I have to go over what the day started with, what the middle of the day was, and what this afternoon's is. To that hater that always says there's nothing new. Oh, there's too much new. I think I'm going to go to probably 35, 40 minutes in this video because there's so much new happening. First, up to about an hour ago, this is where we were. The president had been asked about stimulus checks before he left the United States, and he likes them. He will agree to them. Of course, he would never veto a stimulus checks were in the fourth stimulus package. Second, the House Democrats have told the president that they're putting the monthly stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus package. The Senate Democrats are putting it in there. The broadcast and print media are talking about the fourth stimulus checks being put in there. The House subcommittees are marking up the bill, meaning they're writing the bill, and the reconciliation process is underway, and the president was signing into law overseas in his first international trip, a major deal that anchors forced stimulus to the finish line. It's all wonderful. And I know you're about to say, but then what? Yeah, but then what, Ally? But then what? But then what? Okay, so then what? Well, we were also up to that point fine with Joe Manchin, and we're still fine with Joe Manchin, and another person. Yeah, her, Kristen Sinema. So, ironically, I'm being polite, ironically, just as the president left U.S. soils for the first time since being a president, got on that plane, just suddenly left, Kristen Sinema, guess what she goes and does? Goes and meets with Republicans. Yeah, hi, I'm Kristen. The president's left. Can I talk to you now? And so what did she do? Well, she went and talked to Republicans to try to broker a deal on behalf of the president, who she doesn't represent, who specifically has already drawn a line in the sand about how low he's going to go on the fourth stimulus package, to talk to Republicans. Now, let me tell you the end result of this. The end result of this is there is no end result. The end result of this is that it does not mean she is not voting in favor of the fourth stimulus package. It also does not mean that there's a deal. What I do want to tell you in the most bipartisan, nonpartisan way is that this is the worst case of political grandstanding I have seen in a non-election year in a while. This is one person trying to get a lot of publicity for herself, and I don't like it. And I rarely use words like this. Why? Because if you read through the articles, the meetings talk about who is in the meetings that she has had, suddenly that the president has just left the United States in the last few hours, yesterday. The meetings are basically all Republicans and her, and not a lot of Republicans. And she's trying to look like she's artfully getting some deal for the president, which he doesn't want her to be negotiating for him, and he doesn't agree to her price, and he doesn't want her to be doing what she's doing and the pay for it. He doesn't agree with anything she's doing. So she's trying to get a lot of publicity, and she is. She's getting a lot of publicity. And it's grandstanding. It's just a publicity bit. We covered this in 2020 about how politicians like to get publicity for themselves because they like to get a book deal, because they like to advance their political future. And that's what she's doing. Here's what you need to know, is that there are some articles that talk about what's going on in those meetings. But when you bury through all the articles, they basically say the Republicans don't agree with her and there's no Democrat that agrees with her. So what she's doing is her for herself. It is not for Democrats and it's not for Republicans. And there is an attempt to get ahead of the story, potentially by her camp, to make it sound like she's doing some wonderful thing. But when you bury into the articles and you actually have on the record quotes from Republicans and on the record quotes from Democrats, they're not supporting what she's doing. So is she making a situation that was so nice as an African as LA messy? Yeah, she is making it messy. Is she going to be a dissenter that is going to block the reconciliation vote? No. Does she have anything to do with Joe Manchin? No. That the articles did make clear that Joe Manchin has, as a more older statesman, he has his people he talks to. This is her own new entree into trying to be, the baker in the oven. So this has nothing to do about Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin is already on board. We already learned earlier this week, all the way, there's no change. And he's not even involved in these negotiations, if there even are negotiations. So there you go. Oh, and I want to jab. Two of the people in these meetings are Republicans who are quitting, who are retiring. I am tired of hearing about people who are, whether you're a Republican or Democrat, you're leaving. I mean, you're quitting, you're leaving, you're exiting office. You're out the door in like a month from now, and you're negotiating for us? Why are people who are leaving negotiating for anyone, let alone your party or someone else's party? So that's who she has in the meeting. She has basically like, she doesn't have Mitch. I mean, she doesn't have, Kevin McCarthy. She has sort of like, whatever scraps she could get into a meeting. Did I say that? Okay. I love Mitt Romney, though. Mitt Romney, he's a nice guy. She has Mitt Romney in the meeting, but she has a lot of people who are quitting. I mean, don't have people in the meeting and quitting. There's a reason why you're out, because you can't get reelected. So what is she doing? She's being messy. And that went really long. So there you go. I had to tell you that, because what is the outcome? No outcome. But boy, she's going to be a front page news. She's putting herself right on front page. And I need you to know it is much of nothing. Now, what is my position on how we should deal with her? I don't know yet. Maybe Sir Lloyd does. I don't know yet. I saw these articles and I was really not happy with her. And you can change. You can do what you want to do. Let's do it that way. You can do what you want to do. So let's go back to where we were before she started having her messiness. The rest of the United States is overseas. Ironically, maybe getting away from her, to have a wonderful meeting to sign into law a provision that anchors forced stimulus to the finish line. Let me go over that major deal, which I detail in Afternoons LA, which is not impacted by her. Of course not, because who is she? And let's go over all the details that led up to that major development. First, Chuck Schumer, the Friday before Memorial Day weekend, confirmed that three elements are at issue. First, the reconciliation process has started. Number two, that the reconciliation process will end with a final vote of approval. I want to just say, yeah, Kristen, you're watching? Hi. On July 4th. And then number three, that bipartisan negotiations will not hold up the forced stimulus, which ironically, earlier this morning, I would always refer to the Biden Capito meetings. Well, now I'm referring to her meetings. See how that works? You get yourself a lot of publicity. Now YouTubers are having to refer to you. Yeah. So Chuck Schumer confirmed over 2 weeks ago, if anyone, Kristen Sinema, goes and tries to have negotiations, it has nothing to do with Chuck Schumer. He's going to call it to a final vote and he's going to get it passed. That was his statement about a week ago. All right, now let's bring it up to why we got there. We got there because Jayapal wrote Schumer a wonderful letter. And it was not so much what the letter said, but who signed it. The letter from Jayapal to Schumer said, call the vote on the recon. Great, which is because that's what we're doing now. But the letter was co-signed by 12 House Democrats. What's better about this is that those 12 House Democrats are among the 100-plus House Democrats who wrote the president a letter saying we are going to put monthly stimulus checks in the forced stimulus package. Wow, now that's great. Can we get better than that? We can. Can you read Kristen Sinema? No, that's another video. Can we get better than that? We can, which is 7 House Democrats then wrote the president and said, we are going to put monthly stimulus checks into the forced stimulus package for you. Well, who are these people to say that? They are on the House subcommittee that is solely and exclusively responsible for putting stimulus checks in our hands. They wrote the first stimulus check, they wrote the second stimulus check, they wrote the third stimulus check, and they are the only committee responsible in the House for writing stimulus checks. And boy, now they're saying they're putting 4 stimulus checks in the 4th stimulus package. Wow, now that's really good news. Can we top that? We can. For the first time on Evenings LA, you're hearing that that letter also said to the president that they will put 5th stimulus checks into the 5th stimulus package. Wow. So can we top that? We can, which brings us to the deal the president signed today. It started back on a recent Tuesday, where I told you something confusing was happening, but I had to slow it down so you understand it. That's what led to today's events. Let's recap. Back on a recent Tuesday, I told you that the president had worried about his corporate tax rate under the 4th stimulus. When he debuted his 4th stimulus, he said it's going to be paid for by raising the U.S. corporate tax rate. Pretty easy to understand. Yeah, you can understand that. But he was concerned that if he raised the U.S. corporate tax rate, U.S. corporations may flee operations in the United States and move them overseas for a lower corporate tax rate. That's also easy to understand. So what did he do? That recent Tuesday, he had reached out to leaders of foreign countries, the G7, and said, would you agree to a higher global minimum corporate tax rate to prevent businesses from moving to finding a lower corporate tax rate? And they said, yes, that's also really good. So then what did he do that recent Tuesday? Well, he told his insiders that after 4th stimulus is passed, July, he would go back to those G7 countries and get them to sign into law the actual 15% global minimum corporate tax rate. And that if he did, he would come back and reduce our U.S. corporate tax rate. Now that is wonderful. So then what happened today? Well, last Friday, I told you the president was saying he was going to have a meeting on this last Saturday. I said, I don't know what about with the global G7 countries, but tune into Mornings LA last Saturday. And on air, live, I told you that the president had suddenly brokered a deal that he's going to have the G7 countries sign the global minimum corporate tax rate of 15% before 4th stimulus is signed into law, to anchor 4th stimulus to the finish line, and that for his first major international trip, he would have it signed into law today. And that's what happened today. The President of the United States is having the G7 countries sign into law the global minimum corporate tax rate of 15%, which anchors 4th stimulus to the finish line, anchors the tow truck and the tow hitch to the finish line. And that's why he's out of the country. Or to stay away from Kyrsten Sinema. So there you go. Wow, that is absolutely incredible. And that was really where we were until about an hour ago when we started to hear all these details about Kyrsten Sinema, which does not impact anything but creates a lot of messy chatter. And no one likes messy chatter. I mean, I don't like it. So there you are. Is Manchin still on board? He is. Has Kyrsten Sinema ever said she's not on board with the president? No. But why get messy about something that doesn't need to be messy? Political grandstanding. And there you go. Better news coming as well. There's the volunteers that can help you get that rent, utilities, and food and internet. Reach out to them. They're in the description to this video. Open the description, go down to where you see an emoji of a house. Click on the emoji. It'll send you over to the volunteers page. The volunteers are separated from Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and they'll help you find that money and rent and internet and maybe a new job for Kyrsten Sinema. And with that, I'll be back in 60 seconds with you with more exciting, great news about 4th stimulus and 5th stimulus and the breaking news that's economic for 4th stimulus as well. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LA Late Daily for the excitement of the new LA Late live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LA Late at 9 a.m. Home LA Late returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LA Late at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LA Late. And the excitement continues right now on Evenings LA, direct from Santa Monica. How are you? It's a big Thursday night. I'm so excited you join me as Forced Stimulus coverage continues with a third part in the second half of this video. More exciting details about forced stimulus, and I'll explain to you where we'll be going tomorrow on forced stimulus as well. Stay with me. And fifth stimulus heats up with incredible economic data released this morning. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record for a reason. The most in-depth, the most accurate, and the most detailed and analytical analysis of the financial markets from Wall Street to Main Street. You don't want to miss a single video across this channel. Subscribe. Also like this video. 3,000 likes. Never forget to like. It helps in the algorithm ranking. And stay with me as Evenings Crypto and Overnight Crypto comes up next. But also consider becoming a member. More about that membership in just a second. Let's cut into fifth stimulus, which has at least 30 minutes of coverage. I could go on about fifth stimulus that happened today as well, but I'm gonna have to make it very tight and easy so you understand it. Fifth stimulus is that modification to the SSI and SSDI system. And it literally has about 5 major things that are happening, but let me make it easy, quick, and fast for you. First, they're going to raise the benefit limits. Then they're going to remove the asset limit, add the inflationary benchmark. Then they're going to remove the marriage penalty and remove the income exclusion. Let me go over first, before that analysis, what happened yesterday, which is so important for you to know. The president announced this wonderful item that he is going to dedicate $1 billion to the Social Security and Benefits Administration to ensure that administration of benefits are done smoother, faster, quicker, and easier. That's huge because remember, if you're a beneficiary, you're getting a fourth stimulus check, and if you're a beneficiary, you're also getting this fifth stimulus lift. So he wants to ensure that you get benefits faster. Let's go over the analysis of fifth stimulus first, and then let me go over the breaking news that impacts that as well. The other breaking news, because there's just a lot of news today. First, they're going to raise your benefits up one big time under fifth stimulus. Then they'll apply a new benchmark. That benchmark is inflation. We've been trying to figure out where inflation is going to be. More about that in a second. But let's choose 6% just for this analysis. First, they'll raise your benefits up. Who's you? You. If you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, survivor benefits, SSA, or other beneficiaries, or multiple benefits, they'll all be raised up. Then they'll apply a new benchmark. That benchmark, let's say, will be a 6% inflation rate. That means that first they'll raise your benefits up in December. First they'll raise your benefits up under the fifth stimulus. Then in December, they'll apply the benchmark. But you won't go up just 6% next year. It'll be lifetime. Wow. Yes, because the way this works is once your benefits step up, they never step down. They either stay the same or step up. Then they're going to remove the asset cap. Dating back to when 1980s, a law that says you can't have more than $3,000 on hand, it's going to go away. You will be able to have more than $3,000 in your hand, especially some stimulus checks. Then they're going to remove the income cap that says you can't work and stay on benefits. And finally, they're going to remove the marriage penalty. It's horrible. It prevents you from getting married for fear of losing benefits or penalizing you because you are married. Love is going to win. And as viewers like Rob and Sandy, they'll be able to get married and not suffer any impact from the marriage penalty. There you go. That is fifth stimulus. But first, now let me turn to something that happened this morning. This is huge for fifth stimulus. This morning in economic data, a major economic number was released. And what was it? It was the Consumer Price Index number for the month of May. If you've been with me for a while, I detail this Consumer Price Index number every month, the CPI. What is it? It tells you how much prices went up for the following items: food, energy, groceries, housing, and car sales. Easy to understand that. So what did the number do? How high was the number? Because I'm clearly going to say the number's high. How high was the number? It was the highest number year to date for the month of May in 30 years. Oh, yes. In fact, it was so high, the last time we saw that number, it was right before we went into the Great Recession of 2008. Now, calm down. This is not bad news. This is absolutely wonderful news for benefits. Why? Because it's signaling that the inflationary rate in December, when they apply your benefits, when they apply your benefits, may be a lot higher than this 2 to 7% that we keep on thinking about. It may be closer to the Jeremy Siegel of 20% that we had talked about 2 weeks earlier. And what do you want to hope for? You want to hope for that the inflationary rate is at its highest point in the year when they apply that benchmark in December. Because most analysts in today's report say that this is going to be a temporary spike of the inflation. It's going to go up and then it's going to settle back down. Why? Because they say there is a chain distribution problem. They're having problems with the ports. They can't get the containers off the ports. They can't get enough containers to the ports. They can't get enough trucks to the ports. They can't get enough truck drivers for it's a whole distribution problem. In fact, today Starbucks announced they're running out of cups. So it has nothing to do with labor per se. It is really this type of chain distribution. So what you want is you want to hope this number is at its highest number in December and then settles down, because they think that this is temporary, or what they call transitory, and that after that, the number will go down. So this is wonderful news, because let's say the inflation rate is 12% in December. Your benefits will step up 12% lifetime, even if the inflation rate in February of next year is 2%. Yes, this is wonderful news for you as well. Forced Stimulus got some wonderful news additionally. And Forced Stimulus got some wonderful news, and that news was that the unemployment numbers released this morning were bad still. We went into the pandemic with 250,000 unemployed, new jobless claims every Thursday. That was right before the pandemic started. You've heard that number on this channel 50-something weeks. So where did the number come in today? 250? No. 376,000. So we still have a lot of jobless claims, signaling we need 4 stimulus checks. We also showed our long-term unemployment, our continuing unemployment claims, which are people who were unemployed the week before, still remained high at 3.5 million, signaling we need 4 stimulus checks. Now, what else is in fifth stimulus besides this SSI reform? Well, there's a lot of other things, and that's why it's beneficial to become a member. If you become a member, the link's at the top of the channel, pinned comment. You get delivered to you daily from me a breakdown of everything that's in fifth stimulus, fourth stimulus, and third stimulus, because it's your money. Most of them are application-based in the law of third stimulus, and so you need to know that they're available for you so you can get them. As to fifth stimulus proposals, for example, there is money for seniors, there's money for single individuals, there's money for hazard-pay single individuals as well. So consider becoming a member so you get a breakdown of what's in third, fourth, and fifth stimulus delivered to you daily. And now with that, let's go back to fourth stimulus and let me recap and explain where we are on what may seem like a confusing, but it really isn't, day for the stimulus situation. If you have been with me in fall of 2020, specifically, I think it was around October, November, you heard right before the election that there was a series of senators and a series of House members, both from both parties, who were trying to grandstand because they were up for re-election. And I ultimately called them the problem creators, remember? Because they weren't doing anything to help us get second stimulus. They were just trying to appear on broadcast TV, trying to appear on the front page of Politico, the front page of the print media. They wanted their face there, and they wanted a lot of publicity. And they often never delivered anything. Problem creators never delivered anything. Josh Hawley really never delivered anything. They wanted a lot of publicity for themselves. Josh Hawley did deliver something for himself, an enormous political trust fund of donations. So some of them used it for book deals, some of them used it for campaign donations, but they didn't deliver us anything. And so what's important for you to understand is that as we go into these final weeks of June. Ooh, as we go into these final weeks of June, it's important to know that I expect this to happen again, where certain political leaders want to grandstand. I don't want you to worry about it, but it's important for me to tell it to you so that you know what it is, and that when you hear it, it's like, I've already heard about that. Thank you. So here's what you need to know. The fourth stimulus package is currently in the reconciliation process. The reconciliation process will end July 4th. The final vote will be by July 4th. All Democrats, including Joe Manchin, who has made very clear to insiders, will be signing in favor of the fourth stimulus package. The Senate Democrats and the House Democrats all state they're going to put the monthly stimulus checks in there. The president has been asked about it and is on board for it. And there's 9 steps to get from now to then. 9 voting steps. Step 1, the House votes on the substantive bill on the House subcommittee. Procedural bill. Step 2, the House floor votes on the procedural bill. Step 3, the Senate votes on the procedural bill. Step 4, the president signs the procedural bill. At that point, the tow truck has passed over the finish line. Time to go back and get the tow hitch, the second half, the substantive half. At that point, the House subcommittee, discussed earlier in this video, finishes writing the substantive bill, can put stimulus checks in there if they wish, and then calls it for a vote. Then it goes to the House floor for a vote, the substantive bill. Then the Senate, for 2 days in the vote-a-rama, step 7 and step 8, call a vote on the substantive bill. They can amend anything they got from the House. So if the House had stimulus checks in there, they can leave it alone, or they can amend it. Or if there are no stimulus checks in there, they can amend it as well. And step 9, the president signs it into law. Those are your 9 steps. But what's very important, Purple Power, is you need to push. You need to be on social media around the clock with those fingers and typing, hashtag MSE, hashtag Purple Power, tagging your elected officials. Why? Because if they're Republican or Democrat, it doesn't make a difference. They have consistently done the following. They have laws and they don't send out the money for the law. They have bills and they don't have the bill called to a final vote. They have proposals and they never get the proposal to bill form. And they have talk, but they never put the talk into proposal form. And so you can never assume that people will do exactly what they so promised. You have to make sure you push them to make sure they finish it. Finally, the vase. There is no vase currently of what the fourth stimulus package is. It's currently being held and put into the glass-blowing oven. That glass-blowing oven, as you heard earlier in this video, is the marking up in the House subcommittees and certainly the senators when later on. So to say it's not in there or it is in there or it isn't there or there, the there hasn't been created. It's the vase. Once the House has formulated the vase in the glass-blowing oven, then they send it over to the Senate. And the Senate may not like the vase. They may say, no, we're putting it back in the oven. We're modifying it. So now it looks more like a pitcher or a chandelier. So ultimately, it's their determination. We are far from over, so you need to push. And with that, thank you for joining me on a big night across the board. The update as we go into this evening is reconciliation is currently underway. Reconciliation will finish in the next few weeks. All the Democrats of both the House and Senate say they want the stimulus checks in there, and the president likes it as well. Joe Manchin is on board, and yet one particular elected official wants to be distractive. I fully expect more distractions in the next few days. Don't worry, but you need to push. And with that, join me next on Evenings Crypto and subscribe. I don't want you to miss a single video across the board. 400,000 subscribers for a reason. I go into the most in depth you'll ever see on this type of coverage. Coming up next on Evenings Crypto, we'll see why one major coin has gone all the way from 3 cents to 6 cents and 6 cents in less than 48 hours. Yes, that is an enormous run of money. And we'll also be going over the incredible details of what you should anticipate by this weekend. So subscribe, like this video, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Have a beautiful evening and stay with Evenings LA.